What is up, Ravens flock, and welcome in. This is Jordan with Ravens Flash Report, and today we're going to break down the Ravens' huge 34-20 win over the Bengals on Thursday night. There were some awesome moments from the offense, defense, and special teams in this matchup that we're going to get into, as well as the Mark Andrews injury, the Joe Burrow injury, and much more. Before we get into this recap, go ahead, hit the like button, and subscribe if you're new here for more Ravens content. We got a lot to get into with this game, so let's get to it.
They're going to get a Super Bowl out of me. Believe that. Believe that. I'm a Raven. It's on. All year. Every year.
So, I'm someone who likes to get the bad news out of the way, so let's talk about the Mark Andrews injury. It was a bad injury, but I don't think it was necessarily a dirty play. That's not to say that none of Logan Wilson's plays over the years haven't been dirty, but this one in particular seemed more like an unfortunate result to a legal tackle. I believe Likely will step up, and this wide receiver group has shown that they can be relied upon on third down to make plays when Lamar needs it. Although Andrews' season may be over, he should be healed up and ready to go by the start of training camp for 2024. As far as Burrow's injury, seems like now he's going to miss the rest of the season, so that's now two AFC North teams that have come into Baltimore and subsequently lost their quarterbacks. But the fact that the Browns are now without Watson and the Bengals are now without Burrow sort of makes this division a little bit easier for the Ravens to win. But anyway, let's get into the fun stuff now. Starting with this offense, because they are fun to watch. I'm glad Lamar was taking shots down the field to his guys and giving them a chance, because all they need to do is hit on one or two of those a game, and defenses are put in a tough spot. You can't simply stack the box now, but a light box will get shredded by Gus and Mitchell. With all or even most of these parts humming, it's going to be very hard to keep this offense out of the end zone. The defense had an interesting day, and while I can't say they played poorly, keeping this Bengals offense under 280 total yards and only 169 yards passing between both Burrow and Browning, early on the interior run defense definitely left a lot to be desired. That said, Mixon racked up 48 of his 69 rushing yards in the first half, as well as 25 of his 31 receiving yards. So they definitely held him in check for the most part in the second half. And with 5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss, 6 QB hits, and 7 passes defended, this turned out to be a better performance than it started to look like in the beginning of the game. Another thing that I love about this game is how it showed the Ravens have become more comfortable in this offense. We scored no less than 6 points in every quarter of the game. This has become a good trend for us, eclipsing 30 points in each of the last 5 games in a row, which ties the franchise record set in 2019. We did still have 21 points in the first half, but we didn't fall off a cliff with our offensive game plan after that, running the ball more in the second half and limiting the Bengals' opportunities and keeping the lead at a distance by scoring 2 field goals and another touchdown in the fourth to keep our foot on the gas pedal despite some of the injuries we sustained. My offensive players of the game were Odell and Gus, and while Odell as a selection might not be a surprise, Gus only having 62 yards may have some of you thinking he's a stretch, but what Gus offers in the second half of the game was a defensive line energy zapper. Let me real quick list off his runs consecutively in the second half. 26 yards, 7 yards, 4 yards and a first down, 6 yards, 5 yards and a first down, 3-yard touchdown. Basically every time he got the ball in the second half, it was either a 6+ yard run, a first down, or a touchdown. Odell, on the other hand, was active early and often, and he looked great with the ball in his hands in space. 116 total yards on 4 receptions, and 49 of those yards were after the catch, which is a stat that Lamar has been very rarely able to take advantage of in his career outside of Mark Andrews. In fact, almost everybody helped out in that department during this game. Lamar threw for 264 yards, and 157 of those yards, or 59.4%, were gained after the catch, which is the largest percentage of yards gained after the catch all season for Lamar, and the second largest amount of total yards after the catch as well, only behind the Detroit game where he threw for almost 100 yards more than this game. Now let's talk about my defensive players of the game, Brandon Stephens and Odafe Owe. So let's start with Owe, because not only did he get another sack last night, he now has 4 sacks over the last 5 games. I don't personally have a big grudge against Orlando Brown Jr., so the fact that Owe was winning against him doesn't really mean anything special to me. I'm just happy that he's winning against whoever he's up against and creating pressure and getting to the quarterback. Brandon Stephens has been playing lights out at corner this year, and I'm more surprised about that than I am about Geno Stone's play. At least with Stone, when he filled in last year, we kind of knew that he could hold his ground. Before this year, it seemed like Stevens was doomed to be moved around from position to position like a toy from the island of the misfits. Well, no more. And while he did give up, finally, his first passing touchdown on the year in Week 11, no bye week, he still held Jamar Chase, whom he covered most of the game, to 2 catches and 12 total yards, which included the touchdown on 7 targets. My offensive play of the game was the tipped ball touchdown by Aguilar in the second quarter. Obviously, because it was a touchdown, yes, but it was a roller coaster of emotions in a short span, going from, oh no, to, oh yeah, to an even bigger and more bombastic, yes! The concentration by Aguilar was also really awesome to see, and I'm happy for him since he hasn't had a significant impact in a game since his touchdown against Detroit 5 weeks ago. But there's only one ball to go around, I guess, and a lot of talent in that wide receiver room when you consider Bateman, Odell Beckham, and Zay Flowers. Now for my defensive play of the game, Justin Madubuike's sack in the fourth quarter. Not only because it extends his streak of games with at least half a sack to 8 in a row, but when this sack occurred is what I think made it the play of the game for me. There was around 9 minutes and 10 seconds left in the game, and on a 3rd and 5, Madubuike is blocked past Browning, but gets off the blocker to chase down Browning from behind and make the sack, along with Pierce, who didn't get credit for it but was involved. But what matters more is what happened after that sack, or should I say because of it. Not only did the Bengals not convert the down and have to punt, but the Ravens then drive down the field seeing the 51-yard pass play to OBJ, followed up shortly by Gus's second rushing touchdown. This takes the score from being a 13-27, which is a 2-possession game, to a 13-34 blowout with 4:49 left to play in the game. That was a dagger. So, last I had a few extra notes to go over here. You can see them on the screen, but we'll do this quick hit style to wrap up. I talked about OBJ, but it was great to see him getting opportunities and making the most of it, and I know nobody appreciates it more than him. Bateman's first touchdown of the season was awesome to see, but earlier in the game on a deep shot by Lamar, Cam Taylor-Britt made an amazing play on the ball to deflect it away from Bateman, and all I could say was wow, because it was such an impressive defensive play. It's really cool to see both of these guys make great plays. One, a great defensive play, the other, obviously a touchdown for the Ravens. We talked about the Ravens' run defense earlier, so I won't rehash that. Instead, I'll bring up the horrible holding call on Odell Beckham that negated what would have been Zay's most impressive play to date in his career on that long touchdown catch and run. Another cool part of that play was seeing Mitchell running side by side with Zay blocking for him. That's a fast couple of dudes right there. Darby's pass breakup in the third quarter to force the field goal was a play that I also considered for the defensive play of the game. Meanwhile, I found Rock Ya-Sin's lack of ability to turn around disturbing. Yeah, that block by mid-Mixon on Roquan Smith literally made me laugh out loud. I don't know about you guys, but he literally just tossed him like a doll. And that's the first thing that came to my mind. Mitchell's 21-yard run to the right was so much fun to watch. He's fast, his cuts are fast, he's making people miss. I'm excited for the combination of him and Gus for the rest of the season. If Lamar running after he got up limping was Monken's idea, then I would like to hear an explanation on that. If it was Lamar's idea, then I still don't like it, but I trust Lamar to know his own body. Gus is a terror inside the 10-yard line, but 7 of those 8 touchdowns were inside the 5-yard line. So my new saying is, there's only 3 things that are certain in this world: death, taxes, and Gus inside the 5-yard line. But that's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this game's recap at least half as much as you enjoyed the game that it was recapping. I'm glad our boys get some extended time off before the Chargers game on the 26th for Sunday Night Football. And until then, I'll see you guys soon. Stay safe out there, and go Ravens.